Hey everybody. So lately I've been getting a lot of questions asking about how you use unmounted stamps, especially if you're new to them and all you've used before is like wood mounted, where you just buy and use them as is. They're mounted, you just ink them up and stamp them. A lot of lines, especially ones you can buy at Michael's or Stampin' Up! And whatnot, have been wood mounted for years. So if you've never bought unmounted rubber stamps before, it can be a little confusing as to what you do. So generally, most companies, for the most part, sell them with cling already attached. I will do a separate video of bare rubber stamps and how I use them, but that will be separate. A lot of times they will come in their own cases, or they'll come in packaging like this, like with the image and the name and all that, and then you would just open it up to use it and like pull it out. Other companies sell them just as is, like you'll get your package and it will be the sheets of rubber with the images, or just the image on rubber. And yeah, what are you supposed to do with it? So these are the new April stamps from CC Designs. Link will be in the, I guess, the below bar now instead of the sidebar, whatever. I've already used a couple to make samples. You can see I've already cut some out, but basically all you do, if it is a cling mount foam on it, there will be paper backing and it's just clingy, it's not sticky. Always check that, because some sites, and it should say where the stamps are listed when you go to buy them, whether it's a cling mount foam or if it's a sticky backed foam, because if it's sticky on the side, you have to permanently mount it to something like a wood block, preferably a wood block. I don't know what else you'd stick it to. But when it's cling mounted, you don't need to mount it to anything. You just want to peel off the paper backing. And sometimes, like I did now, it will rip, but that just comes off really easily. And this is garbage. You can toss it. If you want, you can save it to stick, like to cling the stamps to the paper, but it's flimsy and I don't ever do that. So I just toss it aside. And then you need a good pair of scissors to trim the stamps out with. Personally, I prefer, these are the Tim Holtz Scissors by Tonic, and again, link will be listed in the bar with all the extra info and whatnot. These are the best scissors I've ever used for cutting out stamps and rubber, because they have, and you won't be able to see it on here, they have a really fine serrated edge. So I've had mine for a year or two. I can't even remember how long I've had them, and they have never gotten dull. There's also other rubber cutting scissors. I know Stampin' Up! Sells a pair, and I think All That Scrap sells the same kind. I can't even remember. I don't even have them to show because I got rid of them forever ago because they get dull too fast. Anyway, so you want to cut out or trim the stamps you want to use. Lately I've just been cutting out from a sheet like this. I just cut out the stamps I'm planning to use like right that moment, rather than trimming them all out and storing them, just for me, because I have so many stamps, and this helps me to keep track of which ones I've used or not. But yeah, that's all you do. I prefer, and it helps, that's why I said peel off the paper backing. It cuts easier without the paper, and paper is dulls scissors faster than anything, so there's no point having it if it's a cling mount. If it's sticky, that's a whole other issue. So yeah, peel the paper off and then trim. Always keep your scissors like straight to the image. If you have to, or if you're naturally angling, at least angle towards, so that you're not undercutting the foam, because if you cut, say, this way, you'll be undercutting the foam, and then when you go to stamp with the image, you could end up getting an uneven image, or it won't stamp properly. So always try to keep your scissors straight up and down. I prefer to trim quite close to the stamps. It's just force of habit. You don't want to leave a whole lot of rubber like this, because when you go to like stick it on a block and stamp it, you can easily pick ink up on all the exposed rubber. So I always prefer to trim the images out really closely, or as close as I can get. And having a good pair of scissors really helps. That's why I like these ones, because you can get like your whole hand in there and they're really comfortable to hold. I've tried other scissors and they either don't cut through the rubber properly, or you can't hold them properly. Like way back in the day, I used to use the Fiskars ones. I don't have those here anymore, they're at work. But the Fiskars ones with the orange handles like this, and like trying to cut stamps with scissors like this, it's fine in larger areas, like in the back of the scissors, but most of the times right around here near the edges and near the tips, it starts to get dull. You cannot get in to cut detail unless you really, like, yeah, I can't even, yeah, it doesn't work, and it hurts the hands after a while because you got your fingers kind of shoved in there. So that's why I like these ones, because you can get right in. They cut sharp right up to the tip, so I can get into detailed areas like this, just like that. These are amazing scissors. Seriously, if you're planning on buying unmounted stamps that you have to, or any stamps that you have to trim out yourself, I recommend these. And even with sticky back stamps, like, well, it used to be like the Stampin' Up! Ones, because you always have to mount them yourself. These are amazing for that because they are Teflon coated, so they don't get as sticky as regular scissors do. They do get a bit, like I've still got a bit of sticky residue left on these, but it comes off really easily. Just use rubbing alcohol. It cleans them right up. So that's all there is to it. So you just trim them out, and then to use, I just got to shift my camera a little bit. To use them, you need acrylic blocks. That's the best. If you don't have acrylic blocks and you just got these, you can use a wood-mounted stamp in a pinch. Anything with a glossy label on it, like this one, the stamps will stick right to it. Like, you could do that. So there, it's sticking. I can ink it up, stamp it, clean it, do my thing, and then peel it off, you're good to go. So that definitely works in a pinch. Okay, there are a ton of acrylic blocks out there. I've been slowly just adding to my collection for years now. I started out with just a couple, and then every once in a while when I'd place an order and whatnot, I would get a few more. So you can get ones like this that are round and they have the grooves in them, so they're really comfortable to hold, and they come in different sizes. These ones I got from All That Scraps as well. They also have some grid lines on them, which makes it nice to line the stamps up straight. So you would just go like that and line up. I usually try and line up the bottom with one of the grid lines, and then you're good to go. There's also square type ones with a beveled edge, which again, those are just meant to make it more comfortable to hold. This one isn't bad. I don't really like the sharp edges on this one, but it's also a good size block. There's long ones with the printed grid lines instead of the etched, and I also have even ones like this that are just completely clear with smooth edges. I got this one years ago and I don't even remember where or who I got it from. Yeah, I just throw them all in a drawer, and I always just pull out the size I need for the stamp. It really helps to have a variety of sizes. Larger blocks obviously for larger images, like so. You want to make sure that the stamp fits on the block without much, if any, hangover, because if too much of the image sticks out on the block, it's not going to stamp properly. Like when you ink it up and go to stamp, there's no pressure on any parts that are hanging out, so you're not going to get a clear stamped image. And same with when you're using smaller stamps, like this one, it's better to use a smaller block, as you have more control that way, as opposed to using a little tiny stamp on a great big block like this. When you do stuff like that, there's more of a chance that when you go to stamp, you're going to end up rocking it too much and you're going to smear the image. As far as storage, I will probably do a separate video on that, as that's a whole other issue. But as far as the basics with using unmounted stamps, I hope this helps you guys, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye!